So something that I feel like really grieves me or breaks my heart is that sin actually overpromises and underdelivers for people. Um, and I don't think that anybody would necessarily go into sinning thinking like, "Oh, I want to sin." Um, but sin is a thing that um, I feel like it takes more than it gives. But because of what it gives, people are like, "I'll take this for now." Usually based on our perspective. So when it comes to like the economics or like industrial design or some of that space, one of the concepts that is talked about is planned obsolescence. And in planned obsolescence, there's products that are basically built to fail, that they're made in such a way that um, they have like some artificial end date. And at the end of that artificial end date, the hope is that you would buy more of that product, that you would continue to purchase more of that thing. And we see this with clothes, with some of the big name companies that I'm sure we all know that the quality isn't that good, but they know that you're going to come back. So they make you purchase things that aren't that actual, they're not that great, but they're trying to keep you in that loop. Another example of that is with uh, like our phones. So most of us have phones that after some indeterminate amount of years that it starts to like break down a little bit. And we usually stay with that same phone company, which is exactly what they want. They want that for our phones to break down so that we purchase the newer model. And they even market the newer model in such a way that it's like, hey, you should actually want this instead of your old phone that you have. Sin, I feel like, works a lot in the same way where it actually promises, hey, you'll have this amount of fun or this amount of joy. And then we realize at some point that actually stops or cuts off. And the thing is that because we had a little bit of a high or a little bit of a feeling from it, we actually want to continue in that cycle where we keep going back to that same sin or to that same thing, and we're stuck in this cycle that the result at the end of it is really death. Um, but nobody goes into it thinking that. We actually go into it thinking that it would actually be a great thing or it's actually going to be fun or all these other things. But it really has us stuck in that cycle of planned obsolescence. When we think about it that way, it actually, because that's a long term look at it, I think it actually helps us to reframe like, would I actually want to do this thing if I'm going to get stuck in this cycle where I actually need to get more and to get more and to get more? Or will I actually pursue after something that when it promises something, it actually delivers? And that's not so much a what, or it's not so much it's a who. The one who actually promises and is able to deliver is God Himself. He's the only one who, when He promises, He can see through everything in those promises. He's the only one that when He promises, He can actually deliver on all of it. That He actually promises and over delivers. If you look at the scripture that says, "Now to Him who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we ask or think or imagine," that's the God who we serve. That when we usually want to go after these sins that actually will hurt us more, God is like, no, actually come and follow after me because I can actually give you life. That when we actually follow Him and do what He wants us to do, there's no regrets. There's nothing that makes us want to go back on what we did in the same way that it is with sin. With Him, it's actually like, no, I can actually follow Him. I can actually trust Him because the hypothetical phone or product that He's actually given us is built to last.